I was already planning to take a flight today, but some unexpected thunderstorms changed my plans and unfortunately called for a shorter, more local flight.
Check 1, 2, check. Alright. No, we didn't add any fuel. 20.9, that's within a gallon of what I measured with the dipsticks. Go ahead and lean the mixture. And we'll get the weather.
Austin altimeter 3001. Visual approach in use, landing in the park.
Marcus Tower, Cessna November 566 November Delta, 10 miles to the
3 ILS glide path out of service. Runway 31 PAPI lights out of service. All aircraft advised on initial contact. You have India.
Alright, we have information India. We're going to let go of the brakes. I'm going to turn on the nav lights and we're going to scoot forward here.
San Marcos Airport information, India. 1945 Zulu weather. Wind estimated 050 at 13. Visibility 10. Sky estimated 3,000 scattered. Temperature missing, dew point missing. Austin altimeter 3001. Visual approach in use, landing in departing runway 8. Notice the airman, runway 13 ILS glide path out of service. Runway 31 PAPI lights out of service. All aircraft advised on initial contact. You have India.
Alright, information India, and we're going to tune up ground here. So we were going to take a cross country today, but you can see the sky's a little dark out that way. That's this weather here on the radar. It's maybe about 40 to 50 miles, the edge of it there. About 40 miles to this west-southwest out there. We were going to take a cross country, but it's moving this way, and I just don't want to go too far away from the airport. I still wanted to fly today, but I don't want to go too far away from the airport before that stuff gets too close for me to get back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off. We're just going to go over the city of San Marcos, which is like about 4 miles that way. I can see the buildings sticking up. And we'll just circle the city a couple times, come back, maybe shoot a couple of landings. And just a good, nice visual flight. Just do a little bit of sightseeing before these storms roll in later this evening.
Very tug ground.
Yeah, I'm right here below you. I need to tow an aircraft from your position to area POV at taxiway Alpha.
Very tug, proceed a question.
Proceeding on Alpha as requested.
San Marcos ground, Skyhawk 80991.
80991, San Marcos ground.
80991, Cessna 172 at the White T hangars, information India, like to taxi out. We're going to circle downtown San Marcos, 2,000 feet.
I don't know where the white T hangars are, sir.
The tan T hangars, the ones that are just west of the tower.
West of the tower, okay. Runway 8, taxi via Alpha. There's a Cessna in tow coming down Alpha. So if he gets close, give way to him.
Alrighty, we're pulling on to Alpha now. We'll taxi to runway 8 via Alpha at 991. I don't know why I had to explain to him where the hangars are. I say white T hangars all the time, and they never have a problem knowing where that is. Oh well. And one of the ideas for this flight is I was going to fly out to Kestrel Air Park, which is out that way, maybe about 20 miles. So it's about, actually it's right where that purple stuff is on the radar there. And that's right where Kestrel is. I was going to fly out there and help him film something. But I texted him and said, I think I'm going to just stay local around here with the airplane. But I'll drive out there later. There's just some nasty storms. Nasty storms out by San Antonio. So we're barely even going to leave the San Marcos Delta airspace. We're going to stay really close to the airport. We'll have the airport in sight the entire time. Alright, coming up to runway 8. Pull off into the little run-up pad here. Big storms way out there. You know they're big because I know that they're 40 miles away, and they still look huge. Alright, so we're going to get kind of lined up with the windsock there. Point the nose into the wind, and we're going to set the parking brake. Alright, went through all of that stuff before takeoff. Cabin doors and windows closed and latched. That's closed and latched. Doors closed, and we're going to leave the window open or else it's going to get really hot. Flight control is free and correct. That one's up, that one's down, that one's up, and that one's down. Elevators up and down, rudder left and right. It's all good. Drop my checklist. Alright. Elevator trim set for takeoff on the white arrow. Flight instruments checked 0. Neutral, that's set to the Austin altimeter because I guess theirs is broken here. Centered, and I'll go ahead and set the DG here, calibrate it. And we're going to put our heading bug on runway heading, which is 080. Alright. As flight instruments checked and set, fuel selector is on both. Mixture goes to rich, we're below 3,000 feet. The parking brake is set. And we're going to throttle up to 1700 RPM, check the magnetos and the carburetor heat. I'll check the left mag. A little bit of sputtering on that one, back to both. And a little bit of sputtering on the right, so both of them are relatively dirty. We need to rotate these plugs, that's one of the problems. We try to taxi it lean and all that stuff as much as we can, so I'm just going to lean the mixture here and just let her run for a minute. Right at peak, getting it real hot inside those cylinders, maintaining 1700 RPM. And just get her real lean. If we had a cylinder head temperature or an exhaust head temperature gauge in here, we would be able to see those temperatures rising because we leaned out the mixture. So we'll just let it sit there and let that lean mixture burn out that crap and carbon that's in the spark plugs, fouling them up. And I'll give it another try. Go a little bit lean, or go a little bit more rich rather. Left mag sounds clean. Back to both. Right mag sounds clean. Back to both. Next on the checklist is carburetor heat. Pull the carb heat out. We get a slight drop, and I'm going to leave the carb heat out and do this stuff. Check the alternator. We get a warning light and a drop in amperage when I turn the alternator off, so that's good. Engine instruments are in the green. We got plenty of fuel, and suction is sufficient. So we're going to pull the throttle all the way back to idle, all the way till the knob stops. We get a vacuum warning light. The engine's running smoothly with the carb heat out at idle, which is good. We'll push that in. And we still got this warning light on the vacuum, low suction, so we'll pull the standby vacuum. Warning light goes away, and suction comes back up. Good. Bring the throttle back up to 1000. Throttle friction lock is adjusted as I want it, and both the flaps are up. Emergency procedures, we got fields and runways that we can deviate to if we need to. Alright, departure plans, review. And he's going to tell us what to do, whether it be a left turn or a right turn out. Most likely be a right turn, but we'll see. And takeoff checklist review, we know what to do. Radios are set. So audio panel set, we'll go to tower. We're going to stay on tower the whole time. And we got San Marcos AWAS in there. We're squawking altitude 1200 on the transponder. Next up is to contact tower. Release the parking brake. Scooter forward here. And we're going to kick the right rudder.
Cessna 6 November.
Assist it with a little bit of right brake.
Then contact ground.
You can see how nice and clear and, you know, just puffy cumulus clouds out there.
61805. Can I get a short
And a mean storm about 50 miles out there. 40 to 50 miles.
Cessna 805 affirmative, make short approach.
Alright, looks like that guy's about to make a short approach. I'll let tower know I'm sitting here. San Marcos Tower, Skyhawk 80991, holding short of runway 8 at Alpha, ready for departure.
Cessna 80991, San Marcos Tower, hold short of runway 8 for landing traffic.
Hold short, runway 8, 80991. So the ATIS will say something like, all aircraft read back hold short instructions. And that means that when you're issued an instruction like that, so I called basically just saying, hey, I'm at runway 8, I'm ready for takeoff. And he said, okay, hold short of runway 8, because you got landing traffic. It's that Cessna that's right out there landing. So, per the ATIS, the ATIS said, all aircraft read back hold short instructions, that means I've got to read back that instruction. I have to come back to the controller, and the controller has to hear me say the words, hold short, runway 8, 80991. So he can verify. If I didn't read that back, if I just said 991 Roger, he would have come back and said, I need you to repeat, I need you to read back that instruction, or something like that. That Skyhawk making a short approach. He really cut it in and banked in there.
System 566, November Delta, San Marcos, ground taxi to parking.
San Marcos Tower, November 1, November Delta. 519 November Delta is midfield downwind.
System 9, November Delta, runway 8 cleared for touch and go. I'll have one departure prior to arrival.
That's probably going to be me.
Runway 8 clear, touch and go, 1 departure.
805 exit at Bravo on contact ground.
805 Roger, we'll exit at Bravo, contact ground, thank you.
Alright, transponder altitude, carpet cold, mixture is rich, flaps are up, fuel selectors on both trims set for takeoff, and we're ready to get our lights on as soon as we get cleared.
Cessna 809 or 901, runway 8 cleared for takeoff. Make a right downwind departure.
Right downwind departure, runway 8 clear for takeoff, 80991. Alright, we already did our flow and the lights are on. And we just had a Cessna exit the runway and we got, where'd he go? Where'd he go? There he is. That guy turning downwind to base. We're clear left and we're clear right.
Runway 08.
iPad just told me I'm approaching runway 8, and it's about to tell me that I entered runway 8 with 6,200 feet
San
remaining.
Marcos
Tower,
Tower,
Skyhawk 24547, 8 to the northeast, with
Alright.
India, full stop.
A little bit of a left crosswind, so a tiny bit of left aileron. Check the compass of the gyro, it looks perfect. Heels down to the floor so I don't hit the brakes. And we're going to ease it up to full power. Oil temp and pressure is in the green. Generating good RPM, airspeed's alive, 45 knots, 50 knots, 55. There's 60 knots, we're airborne. That's a bit of a crosswind takeoff there. I could feel the airplane kind of starting to skip sideways. You know, we're kind of almost bouncing sideways. We weren't quite up to speed yet, but the airplane wanted to fly, and in some of those cases, just make sure you're past rotation speed, and you know, just get the airplane off the ground so you don't damage the landing gear.
With India, full stop.
Alright, we're looking for 1,100 feet on the altimeter here. It's going to be 500 feet above the ground.
San Marcos Tower, report entering left downwind, runway 8.
And we'll make a right downwind
Report
departure.
entering left downwind for runway 8, 547.
About 100 feet to go, just cross the runway down there. And we're going to lift this wing up, just look for any traffic, and begin our right turn. And we're currently flying the airplane in the region of reverse command is what it's called.
November Delta going around.
Meaning that I'm controlling my airspeed with pitch.
November Delta, Roger.
So if I pull the nose up, my speed goes down. If I push the nose down, my speed goes up. And I'm controlling my rate of climb with my power. And since we want to climb as fast as we can, I'm just holding the power all the way in. So we're controlling that airspeed. We want to hold it right at 76 knots, which is this airplane's best rate of climb.
To make right close traffic, there is traffic on a right crosswind making a left or right downwind departure to the west, another Cessna.
Roger, we'll make right traffic. We got traffic inside turn 9 November Delta.
Roger.
So you can see those storms way out there, how it just kind of, the horizon fades away into those storms. And what we're doing is we're just going to that little cityscape right there. That's actually Texas State University campus. It's right in the middle of downtown San Marcos. And we're coming up to 2,000 feet, which is what I told him I was going to orbit the city at. Alright, easing the power back, and we'll lean the mixture a little bit. And just letting the airplane level off here at 2,000 feet. And he said make a right downwind departure, so I'm going to act like I'm still on a right downwind for runway 8. I'm not going to turn towards the city yet until I'm well clear of the airport. The city right up here
San Marcos Tower
is actually right on the edge of the San Marcos airspace.
Left downwind for runway 8.
System 547, runway 8 cleared to land.
Runway 8, clear to land, 547.
Got a jet way up there. Caught my eye. I might as well just keep going this direction and I'll put the city on the right side of the airplane. Just as I would do if I had passengers in here or whatnot, which I clearly don't. Empty airplane.
Cessna 991, frequency change approved. Austin does have traffic they're going to sequence into the GPS approach to runway 8, so just remain south of the extended center line to 8.
Okay, we'll remain south of that center line, and we're just going to stay with you on tower. We're going to come back inbound in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so change of plans. He doesn't want us to go up towards the center line for runway 8. So there's Texas State University, and the center line for runway 8 actually cuts right through the center of campus. So we don't want to go that way. So we're just gonna, here's the Interstate 35. And we'll just kind of go this way and stay south.
November Delta midfield.
Just as he asked.
Cessna 9 November Delta, you're following traffic on a left downwind, approaching left base. Do you have them in sight?
Negative, look for traffic.
Okay, I'll call you right base if you don't get them.
We got traffic in sight, 9 November Delta.
Cessna 9 November Delta, that traffic's a full stop. Your number 2, runway 8, clear for touch and go.
I'll just go down here to the outlet walls and then
Clear touch and go, 9 November Delta.
kind of circle around. And of course with this change of plans, now I'm thinking to myself, okay, tower, where are the towers out here? Where's the terrain? How high is the terrain? Now I know that we're good at 2,000 feet here. We got a tower right up here off to our right, and it's actually that big silo looking thing that's at that, it's a concrete plant right up there, and it's at 899 feet, so it sits at 2,000 feet. So we'll keep that in mind. And we'll just go right down here to the outlet malls, the San Marcos outlet mall. Yeah, we'll just make a loop and maybe go back into San Marcos, do a couple landings. I thought we could maybe fly over to Lockhart, which is that way, which would be kind of harmless, but I just don't want to go too far away from the airport, and you know, weather can change on a dime, and I don't want to deal with, you know, I'm on my way back in and now there's a cell developing over the airport and that kind of stuff, so I don't want to go too far away.
Cessna 547, turn right at Bravo and contact ground.
So right down here is the San Marcos outlet mall. Big outlet mall. People will drive a long way to come here and shop. This is the kind of thing that I do with passengers too. I'll kind of explain to them what they're looking at a little bit, but I'm also multitasking. I'm looking at obstacles in my turn, I'm looking for traffic, maintaining altitude, checking my heading, making sure that I'm still aware of where we are and where we're pointed, where all the obstacles are. Got a water tower there, water tower there. We got a 2,000 foot TV antenna, but it's way the hell up there. Like well past the airport on the way to Austin, so that's no big deal.
San Marcos Tower, Skyhawk 6031 Whiskey is Alpha, short of runway 8, ready for departure to guards.
Cessna 603 Whiskey, San Marcos Tower, hold short of runway 8. You can just say you're on IFR departure. You don't have to give me the fix.
Okay, I'm an IFR departure.
See, that's good. I like when controllers do that. You know, the student said something else that was kind of unnecessary to say on the radio, and instead of getting pissed off or, you know, just blowing it off, the controller actually pitched in and helped the student a little bit and said, you know, you don't, by the way, you don't have to say that. You can just say, you know, ready for IFR departure. Also helps reinforce, you know, now the student has not only heard that from their instructor, but they've also heard it from the controller as well. Alright, we got traffic 100 feet below us, probably coming right over campus right out there. So I see him on the iPad. He's 200 feet below us, descending in on the GPS runway 8 approach. That's the graphic he told me about. So we're just going to stay here at 2000 and do a couple more loopy-loops. Always be ready to adapt to your situation. He told us stay south of this extended center line for runway 8. And you don't panic, just adapt. Okay, change of plans, we'll stay over here, but you got to keep in mind all the other factors. Now we're in a different area than we anticipated we were going to be in, so we're aware, I'm aware that New Braunfels Airport's right down there, and I'm staying out of their airspace.
On the RNAV, and we changed over without Austin telling us we couldn't get them. They were broken and unreadable.
Cessna 551 November Delta, San Marcos Tower, roger, continue.
We'll continue, 551 November Delta.
Make right, close traffic.
Right, close traffic, 9 November Delta.
Cessna 1 November Delta, runway 8 cleared to land.
Alright, runway 8 clear to land.
I'm going to make a left turn here, and I'm going to see what this is over here. Looking for traffic, looking for obstacles and stuff. There's absolutely no obstacles out here that I need to be worried about at this altitude. This is a part of town that I've never really explored, this far east of the interstate.
Marcus 251 Mike Charlie is with you. Visual for runway 8.
It's high school.
Citation 251 Mike Charlie, San Marcos Tower, report entering left downwind for runway 8.
Here's left downwind for 8, Mike Charlie.
Engine instruments looking good. Everything's looking good. Yeah, it looks like that's a high school down there. There's San Marcos on the football field.
Duck, Mike.
San Marcos Tower, Cessna 519, November Delta is midway.
Cessna 9 November Delta, make a left 360 and report back on downwind. You're going to follow a citation that's entering left downwind from the east now.
9 November Delta making left 360, we'll report back established downwind and searching for traffic.
Citation 1 Mike Charlie, runway 8 cleared to land.
Clear land 108 for Mike Charlie.
31 Whiskey is going to be just a couple of minutes for landing traffic, IFO traffic.
31 Whiskey, no problem, sir.
So now we're going westbound. Those thunderstorms are way out there. Still, ooh, wow, that is the deep purple. Nasty stuff.
And San Marcos Tower 51 November Delta, you want to exit Bravo?
Affirmative, exit Bravo, contact ground.
Bravo, contact ground, 51 November Delta.
Alright, 6031 Whiskey, no delay now. Runway 8 cleared for takeoff and fly runway heading.
No delay, runway 8 clear for takeoff, fly runway heading, 31 Whiskey.
Coming back up to the outlet mall here. So we're turning southbound along Interstate 35. San Antonio is that way. This highway goes right through San Antonio, and Austin's obviously the other way. At my back.
And Mike Charlie is cleared to land, correct?
1 Mike Charlie, affirmative, cleared to land.
19 November Delta is midfield downwind and has the landing traffic in sight.
9 November Delta, roger, number 2, runway 8 clear for touch and go.
9 November Delta, number 2, runway 8 clear for touch and goes.
Approach in use, landing in the party, runway 8.
Get the weather at San Marcos
Runway
again.
13 ILS glide path out of service. Runway 31, Pappy lights out of service. All aircraft advised on initial contact, you have India. San Marcos Airport information, India. 1945 Zulu weather. Wind estimated 050 at 13. Visibility 10. Sky estimated 3,000 scattered. Temperature missing, dew point missing. Austin altimeter 3001. Visual approach in use, landing and departing runway 8. Notice airman, runway 13 ILS glide path out of service. Runway 31 Happy
Whiskey contact Austin departure.
Contact Austin, have a good day, sir. 31 Whiskey.
Alright, we have India, and I'm going to call them, and I'll see if we can go around the pattern a couple times here, but they're pretty busy, so I'll just say, I'll include the term workload permitting. San Marcos Tower, Skyhawk 809901, about 5 to your southwest, India. I'd like to come back in for a touch and go, followed by a full stop if workload permits.
1 Mike Charlie, contact ground.
Good, thank you very much, Charlie.
Cessna 809901, San Marcos Tower. Make straight into runway 8, and what type landing did you say?
Just like a touch and go, followed by a full stop if we can.
Cessna 9091, runway 8, clear for touch and go, then make left close traffic. You're following traffic that's on about a mile final for touch and go.
Alright, looking for the traffic, cleared touch and go, number 2, 80991 will make left traffic. Alright, looking for somebody on a mile final, which I see him on the iPad, but I don't quite have a visual on him. And I got the runway, obviously, it's going that way. Texas State University, down there. Alright, so we're going to use the power back, just at the bottom of the green, maybe 2200 RPM. Give it a little bit more mixture as we start our descent. And we're going to do a touch and go, and then we're just going to come around and do a full stop. Just get a nice little flight in today. It's nice weather out there and nasty looking out there. Gotta tighten up my shoulder harness a little bit as we descend into the bumps.
Cessna 9 November Delta, resume left closed.
Cessna 9 November Delta, left close traffic.
Alright, they use that power back a little more, maybe 2000 RPM. Starting to line up with runway 8 here. Coming over the interstate. There's Bobcat Stadium. And there we are, turning final. Actually, just for good practice, let's pretend our flap motor failed, or the circuit breaker popped, or whatever. So basically, we can't use our flaps. So let's make this a no-flap landing. So the only difference with a no-flap landing is that at lower speeds, we're not quite going to have as much lift as we normally would. So we got to come in just a little bit faster, just a touch faster.
San Marcos Tower, November 3, 1 Lima, uniform, holding short, runway 08, ready for takeoff.
That was a 500-foot warning on the iPad.
1 Lima uniform, San Marcos Tower, hold short, runway 8, waiting IFR release.
Alright,
1 Lima
boost
uniform,
pump, cow flaps,
short,
carb heat out. Gas on the fullest tank, undercarriage is down, mixture coming full rich. Prop full forward, power set, trim is set where I want it. Straps, we're strapped in, and flaps. We're not going to use flaps on this approach, or on this landing rather. So we're about 80 knots right now, a little bit less than 80 knots. And remember, we control our speed with our pitch, so if we pull the nose up, we're going to decrease our speed. And we control our altitude with our power. I'm pretty happy with our altitude right now. We might be a tad low. I'll just give it a touch of power here. But I'm going to pull the nose up to keep that speed coming down, so we'll get around 70 knots. And we start to sink a little bit, so I'll add just a little bit of power. Alright, left close traffic after this landing. So now I'm a little extra high, so I'm going to start pulling that power out, and I'm going to keep that nose up. Keep that nose up right around 70. Keep that power coming back right at 70. Let that nose start coming down. Don't dip below 70 too much. Alright, power to idle. And now we can begin to flare and just hold the nose here. Hold the airplane off. Hold it off. Get as close to the pavement as possible. So we touch it gently. Hold it off. Hold it off. There we go. Left wheel and then the right wheel. And there's the nose gear. Alright, so carb heat in. Flaps. We didn't use flaps. And ease it into full power. That was a pretty decent landing. A little bit of left aileron in here.
Cessna 31 Lima uniform, runway 8, cleared for takeoff, fly runway heading.
31 Lima uniform, clear for takeoff, we'll fly runway heading, thank you, sir.
Alright, and we just pitch up for 76 knots and hold the throttle in at full power. And we're going to make left close traffic. So that wasn't too bad. It's all, landing and approaches are all about speed control. If you can nail down your speed, you'll be golden. The rest is easy.
Delta runway 8 cleared for touch and go. Traffic's departing prior to arrival.
8 clear, touch and go, 9 November Delta.
Alright, there's 500 feet. Lift that wing up and begin our right turn. Sorry, left turn. I did the right thing, I said the wrong thing. Turn about 90 degrees here. And 100 feet to go until pattern altitude. We'll begin our left-hand turn onto downwind. Start to ease that throttle back just a little bit as we approach pattern altitude. And we're going to trim the nose down as we roll out on a left downwind. Pull the power back a little more. Alright, got that Cessna just off runway 8, climbing out there. And I should have another airplane up here that was just cleared for a touch and go.
2 miles, 700 feet below.
iPad just called that traffic out to me, and there he is, coming right over the highway. Tower Skyhawk 809901, midfield, left downwind, runway 8. They usually like that.
901. What type landing did you want this time?
Full stop, 901.
System 901, runway 8 cleared to land.
Runway 8 clear to land, 80901.
System 31 Lima uniform, contact Austin departure.
Alright, we're being the numbers.
31
No carb heat's coming out.
Frequency change this time to...
We're going to throttle back to 1,500 RPM, 1,500, and give it a couple swipes of trim. And as soon as we get in the wide arc, which we are, we're going to add the first notch of flaps. 1,000, 2,1,000, 3,1,000.
9 November Delta, roger.
We're going to make this a normal landing. Start rolling onto our left base. A little bit of left rudder there to keep the ball in the center. You want to step on the ball and keep that ball in between those two lines on the inclinometer. I got to count when I drop the flaps because this is the type of switch that you have to hold it down in order to get the flaps to come down. As soon as you let it go, the flaps stop moving. So we're going to keep this nose down about 70 knots, and we may need to add just a touch more power. The final approach looks clear, and we're going to begin to turn final. Keeping it right at 70 knots with my nose. I got a little bit slow, so I had to drop the nose a little bit. Let the airplane accelerate. We actually look pretty good here. And I'm not quite ready to add my second notch of flaps, but I may be here in just a few seconds. Smooth rollout onto final. Boost pump, cow flaps, carb heat. Gas on the fullest tank, undercarriage is down, mixture prop power, trim, straps, flaps. We're all set. Just a little memory aid that I've memorized. Alright. 70 knots. I added a little bit of power because we were getting a little low. And I'm not even going to touch the flaps anymore. We'll just land with 10 degrees because I feel comfortable with it. A little crosswind from the left. About 68 knots, which sounds pretty good. I don't want to flare too high, which is a common problem. Alright, so throttle's coming to idle. And just hold it off, hold it off. Let the airplane decelerate. Hold it off. There's the left wheel. There's the right wheel, and there's the nose gear. Perfect. And that makes sense because our crosswind's coming from the left. Alright, perfect. And not a drop of rain has fallen yet. You guys a nice little flight.
Cessna 90901, contact ground control off the runway at Bravo.
Contact ground on Bravo when we clear 80991. Thanks for your help. Alright. Get the entire airplane past this hold line. And we're good. We'll come to a complete stop. Open the window before I cook. Carb heat in, flaps coming up. And the mixture coming out. We'll switch to ground. And contact them, tell them we're going to that hangar. San Marcos ground, Skyhawk 80991, clear of runway 8 on Bravo, going to the T hangars.
80991, San Marcos ground, taxi to parking.
Taxi to parking, 991. He doesn't even give me any instructions because he knows that I'm just going right there. Alright. Aviate, navigate, communicate. That's the order that things should be done in the airplane. First, you aviate. That means fly the airplane. Your first line of business is to fly the airplane and keep the airplane under control. Keep the shiny side up. Navigate. Your second line of business is to figure out where the hell you are. And make sure that you're not going to run into any obstacles. Make sure you're situationally aware. All that kind of stuff. And then the third line of business is to communicate. So when I pulled off the runway there, I didn't immediately contact ground. Even though they're waiting on me, I didn't immediately contact ground because my first priority is to fly the airplane. And that includes putting the flaps back, putting the carb heat back in, leaning the mixture, all that kind of stuff.
India at coast, like taxi facility active.
Seminole 999 November Foxtrot, San Marcos ground, say direction of flight.
Eastbound, sir.
November Fox, runway 8, taxi via Alpha.
Runway 8, taxi via Alpha, November Fox.
Alright, we're back here at the hangar, and here's the airport diagram here. So we're right here, and there's that weather that's brewing up just northwest of San Antonio. And it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a break, and then there's going to be some more weather behind it, and there's even more weather in Mexico, and it's all kind of moving that way. So we're gonna get some rain tonight. But that's okay, because we got a flight in. So we'll go ahead and shut her down. Strobes off, landing light off, nav lights off, avionics off.